Hello, I'm Saad Dino, a pharmacist and owner of Acton Pharmacy. I would like to welcome you back to our show, Healthier You. Our goal is to discuss relevant health topics and provide information that will hopefully guide our viewers to live a healthier lifestyle. Today's topic is back to school nutrition, as our children have gone back to school, and I'm very pleased to welcome Diana Brzezinski, a certified health coach who specializes in nutrition and healthy living. Dan, thank you so much for being with us today.
Thanks for having me.
Appreciate it. You have a very powerful personal story to tell about your own health. Do you mind sharing that with us and how it led you to become a certified health coach?
Sure. I can think of my health concerns back to high school, actually, when I used to wake my mother up in the middle of the night because I didn't feel well. But I went on through life and powered through it, got through school, started working in the corporate world. My first career was in public accounting, so I was working all the time using food to get by and through the long hours during tax season.
Yeah.
And then I went on to a career in sales, and it was just really the same thing but behind the wheel of a car instead of at a desk. And as time went on, I just really wasn't feeling well. So I decided I needed to take a look at my food.
Okay.
I started to make some changes to what I was eating. And then I decided I needed to learn some more. So I enrolled in a program. I was traveling to New York City on weekends to get my certification, really just to help myself. And through that journey of changing my food and educating myself, I decided this is really a powerful thing. I felt drastically different, almost like a new person. So I decided I needed to share that message with people.
Well, thank you for sharing that with that. What's a couple of things that you've changed in your life, in your nutritional lifestyle, that you could share with us real quick?
Sure. Well, the biggest thing for me personally was being aware of how much sugar I ate and what an effect it had on me and how it really affected my moods and my emotions. That was the largest thing.
School is back. The kids and parents are back now into the rhythm of this school year. The picnics are over and the vacations are over. So how do we as parents prepare a good meal for our kids as they are now back in school with the busy schedule we have? Let's start with breakfast, please, if you don't mind.
Sure.
Sharing your opinion.
Sure. Breakfast, they say, is the most important meal of the day, and in my opinion, it really is. It's setting the tone for the day, at least in terms of what you're eating. So it comes back to sugar almost always for me, but especially for breakfast, because the typical American breakfast is cereal, bagels, donuts, Pop-Tarts, all things that are either sugar or carbs, which turn to sugar as soon as you eat them in your body. So starting a child especially, but all of us, off with the right food, particularly proteins and fats, that will help keep us full and satisfied, but also burn as energy throughout the day. So it gets us set up for the right tone. Having sugar in your breakfast just makes you want more sugar pretty quickly, actually.
Craving the sugar.
Craving sugars again. You know, by 10 o'clock, a lot of people are head down on their desk or looking for a snack.
Interesting. So what is it like? You know, you mentioned protein and good fats.
Right.
Can you give me a couple examples of each, please?
Sure. Well, I think the easiest thing is if you can even just start with something as simple as putting some peanut butter on your toast. Peanut butter, almond butter is another favorite of mine. If there's someone with nut allergies, something that we're using in my house now because we have nut allergies is sun butter. And it's sunflower seed butter. And there's a brand that's actually made in a nut-free facility, so it's really safe. But that's giving you some protein and some really good fats that satisfy you and keep you full. However, I like to teach people that you don't have to go with a traditional breakfast. You can break the rules a little bit and be a little crazy and maybe have some leftover dinner.
That's interesting.
It's different, I know, but it really feels good. And it doesn't mean you have to go from eating a bagel to eating a cheeseburger if you want to, and it appeals to you by all means. But take baby steps and head that way and see how it feels.
Interesting. Thank you very much. Now, lunches are important as well for these kids, you know, from first grade to, you know, seniors in high school. Whether we provide the lunch or, you know, it's school provided. What are some healthy choices that we could tell our younger viewers who are maybe watching with their parents that they could choose for lunch when they're standing in the lunch line?
In the lunch line. Well, that's a tough one. I think the biggest component, again, is to make sure there's protein and make sure there's fat.
Okay.
Good fats, of course, and doesn't mean French fries and potato chips, but really make sure there's some meat is how I describe it to younger children, at least. You want to make sure there's a little bit of meat. So the cheeseburger is probably a better option than the pizza because you're going to have a little more protein, some more fats. It's going to satisfy you and keep you going.
Okay. Now you said cheese. Is that okay with a cheeseburger, or should they have a plain burger?
Well, dairy is a whole nother topic. Okay. I think a cheeseburger is just fine.
Okay. Okay. I appreciate that. So, how of course, there's a lot of athletes that play sports in high school, especially fall sports now, and even younger kids that may play baseball or play soccer in the afternoon. Can you discuss some preparation that these children should take, whether the day before or the day of a sporting event?
I would just make sure that they're eating good, whole, nutritious meals the days before, including protein and fat. Again, is going to be the best thing for your muscles. Okay. A cheeseburger is probably a great option. I keep coming back to it, but you have a cheeseburger that's going to have the protein and fat. Then you have the bun with it. This is going to be a little sugars, and that's going to fuel them as well in their games. So it's a great combination.
Obviously, it's very tempting for all of us to grab whatever is convenient.
Of course.
With our busy schedule again. And that sometimes, means either we take a prepackaged, food that's easy just to grab, heat, and eat. But typically, those will have a lot of sugar in them.
They do.
So now we're going back to our sugar topic, which I would like to kind of hone in a little bit. Sugar is something that you counsel people a lot on, from what I understand from you.
Quite a bit.
What are some ways that we could avoid sugar?
The first place I ask people to look for sugars is in their beverages.
Okay.
There are beverages, most beverages that we're drinking have more sugar in one beverage than we should be having in an entire day. I'll throw a few numbers out at you, but the American Heart Association, for example, recommends that a female should have 24 grams of sugar a day, a male 36. Okay. There are beverages, especially sodas, that are in the 50 and 60 gram of sugar range. So right alone, just having one beverage, you're already having a huge effect on your body. Okay. So having water is really the most important thing. So substituting in water, fruit juice always comes into play. For children, if you can water it down as much as you can, and even just start to cut back on fruit juices, that's really helpful too.
Okay. I'm just going to go back to, I forgot to ask you a question.
Sure.
When it comes to sporting events, there's the sporting drinks that are all over the place, advertised on TV.
Yes.
Can you just discuss that just a bit so our viewers could understand your point of view on those types of drinks?
Certainly. Again, water is the most important thing to hydrate with. Okay. If there are children that are really super active and sweating and feel that they really need to replace electrolytes, which is what those drinks are for, there are definitely more natural ways to do that. A lot of the sporting drinks today have a lot of artificial colors and are very high in sugar. Or if they take the sugar out, they're using artificial sweeteners, which are just chemicals and toxins, which again are not good for our children. So I stick with water where we can. The alternative is coconut water. It still has a bit of sugar in it, but it is high in electrolytes, and at least the sugars are natural.
Okay.
And then you can find at some stores some natural versions of a sports drink that will give you the electrolytes. There are more options out there than you realize. We just have to dig a little deeper to find them.
Interesting. Thank you so much. I just wanted to make sure that we discussed
You're
that
welcome.
topic.
Yeah, that's a huge topic, especially with children.
Absolutely. And now, obviously, obesity is a major issue in the United States. There's a lot of people that are trying to lose weight, and we hear avoid fats of all kinds.
Yeah.
But actually, there are some beneficial fats that our body needs in order to survive. Can you discuss the healthy fats that we should be eating or looking into as we are searching for a better diet?
Yeah, absolutely. And this is so important for children, especially going back to school. So just to think about it this way, our brains are 2/3 fat. And as children are developing and learning, we need to make sure that we're helping their brains grow by giving it the right kind of fat that it needs. Yeah. Right. So we need to cut back on the bad fats, which are in the processed foods. I mentioned French fries earlier, which, trust me, are a favorite of mine, but as a treat on occasion. And make sure they're having real good, healthy fats. So those are, for example, if you think about it, they come from foods.
Okay.
The fats that are naturally occurring in foods. So nuts and seeds, as I mentioned before, and peanut butter.
Okay.
Avocado is fabulous. Hummus, things like that. If you can get them to eat that, that's fantastic. Guacamole, make it fun. Fish is really important. Things like sardines and salmon are excellent sources of fats. Then when cooking, I'm a huge fan of cooking with olive oil, and actually coconut oil is a huge favorite of mine as well. The coconut's popping up again.
Okay. Thank you very much.
You're welcome.
We hear there's a lot of beneficial to supplements.
Yes.
Such as fish oil, probiotics, taking a good vitamin every day. Can you tell us what you recommend for a starter for somebody that's, like for example with fish oil?
Right.
What would you recommend?
Well, certainly fish oil I think is very important for most Americans just because our diet today is so grain heavy, and grains are very high in omega-6 fats. Fish oils are omega-3s.
Okay.
So we need to balance that ratio. So adding some fish oil is really a great thing for most Americans.
Okay.
Even if you are eating things like salmon and sardines and walnuts, you're probably not getting enough. So I think fish oil is one of the top 3 or 4 supplements that most people can be taking on a regular basis.
Can you just discuss briefly what are fish oils used? What's the benefits of
there are
fish oils?
so many. Yeah, again, for children, great for our brains, but so then that affects our neurological system.
Okay.
It's great for our digestion, our guts, our joints, our skin, so many things. And if you think about it, you need to put oil in your car to lube things up and make it run. It's kind of the same thing in our bodies.
That's an interesting way of putting it. There's many brands out there, and not that I want to discuss brands, but how do you search for good quality fish oil?
Well, that's a great question because quality on fish oil is really important. If you're using a bad quality fish oil, you can actually be doing more harm than good. Okay. So you want to make sure it's a very clean source. You want to make sure that because fish can be high in mercury, you want to make sure that it's tested for mercury.
Okay.
You want to look specifically at the bottle and make sure there's EPA and DHA in it. I recently had a client bring me a bottle and said, "Is this good?" And it was, all fish oil, but no EPA and DHA, and those are the good components.
So is there a ratio you could talk about real quick about EPA to DHA? Doesn't
well,
matter.
it's different for every person.
Okay.
It depends what your goals. One's more anti-inflammatory, and one's better for your neurological system. So it depends what your goals are, really.
And which one is what? Which one is good for your neurology?
The DHA is great for the brain. So you'll often see children's supplements is a little higher in the
Absolutely.
DHA,
Yep.
and the EPA is the anti-inflammatory fish oil. So more of the adult forms are higher in the EPA than the DHA.
I mean, I know that a lot of websites rate fish oil, so that's the one source that our viewers could go look into it, or talk to the pharmacist or their health provider about what brands that they would recommend.
The one other thing I like to comment is that it can go rancid, so you want to make sure it hasn't been sitting on a shelf somewhere for years or in a warehouse and heated. You don't want it to have gotten hot, because again, it can be rancid, and then you're doing more harm than good.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Is there something like a smell to it, right? That when you open the bottle, I believe.
Yeah, the more fishy it smells,
okay.
It's not so good.
Okay, got it. How about probiotics? I know probiotics are very important.
Very important for many reasons, again.
Okay. Can you discuss that a little bit as to?
Sure. So I'll first say, what are probiotics?
Yes.
Probiotics are basically, we take them to replace good bacteria in our digestive system, our guts, as I say. So, just through our daily lives, through the toxins we're exposed to every day in the air and the water and the food that we eat, but taking antibiotics when we're sick, if you think an antibiotic kills bacteria, it's killing the good and the bad.
Exactly.
And it's very important for our overall health, but also our digestive system, that we have the right balance of these good and bad bacteria.
Okay.
So it builds your immune system more than anything. Again, reduces inflammation, which is a whole nother big topic. But probiotics definitely are another area that most Americans can use help with.
Excellent. I get this question at the store all the time, at the pharmacy all the time. Should I take a multivitamin?
Yeah.
So my first, my typical answer is yes. It's not going to do you any harm.
Right.
Except there are some ingredients that we have to be careful, the interactions and stuff. So please talk to your pharmacist and
Exactly.
your doctor about the multivitamin that you're going to choose. The question I have for you is, what do you recommend for a multivitamin?
The same thing goes, really, my philosophy in everything, whatever we're putting in our body, be it food or supplements, we want to make sure it's a great quality. So I do believe that most Americans, again, need a good multivitamin and mineral formula.
Okay.
So something that's going to have a lot of the minerals that we're not getting, just because our food is not what it used to be. And even if you're eating all the fruits and vegetables, there's still probably a lot we're missing. And to your point, it's not going to hurt you.
Okay.
So again, having a good quality, just being careful with some of the more generic brands because they use a lot of fillers or less expensive forms of the vitamins that our body can't even absorb, so then it becomes a waste.
I'd like to backtrack a little bit. We mentioned the word multivitamin in the last question. And you mentioned also the magic word of supplement.
Exactly.
So it is a supplement.
Yes.
It does not take over our nutritional needs for the day.
Exactly.
I would like to backtrack a little bit. Let's
Sure.
discuss a little more on sugars
Yep.
and the good fats.
Okay.
And you're a health coach, right? So I assume you eat very well.
I try.
Give us an example of something that you pack for your child for lunch.
Okay.
How's that?
Certainly.
Let's do that.
So a few things that we want to touch on. So we did say that a multivitamin is a supplement. So we need to make sure that we're still eating all the fruits and vegetables we need. And I'd say the typical American diet, or as we know it, the standard American diet, SAD, SAD.
Yeah.
The standard American diet is lacking in fruits and vegetables most often, especially fresh fruits and vegetables.
Okay.
So you asked about on-the-go foods. What I like to do is take my Sunday, do my grocery shopping, and prepare for the week.
Okay.
I will say eating healthy takes a lot of work, and I understand that we already have very busy lives.
Yes.
But it's very important. We're not going to have a life if we're not healthy, right? So in order for us to live those very busy lives, we need to be healthy to be able to do it. Chop some fresh fruits and vegetables, package them in little baggies or little containers, and you can make your own to-go packages, things that you can just grab out of the fridge and go on your own. Pack up some nuts or some seeds in little baggies. You have your own servings. A lot of times you can already get single serving sized packages of nuts at some of the local stores, and you don't even have to do that for you. So those are some great snacks to have on the go, and to make sure that you're getting the fruits and vegetables that you need in your diet, in addition to these proteins and good fats.
Okay. So can you give me an example of vegetables that you like to recommend to your...
Just things to give us some crunch. We'll often do sugar snap peas, which don't even really take any prep. I'll slice up some cucumbers, slice up peppers, and just have them ready to go. Those are probably the top 3 favorites in my household.
Okay.
Celery is always another great one. Okay. And then you can add peanut butter to your celery, or almond butter, or sun butter in that case, or dip these in the good fats, the guacamole and the hummus that we mentioned earlier. So that's a great way to get some vegetables in you with some good fats.
Okay, great. So again, I'm going to go back to my question.
Yeah.
Tell me something that you pack for your child for lunch.
Yeah, so my stepson gets, he's one of the people that actually often will have a cheeseburger for breakfast, believe it or not.
Okay.
We do have a lot of food allergies in our house, so it eliminates a few other items. The other breakfast item, which I neglected to mention earlier, would be eggs. I think eggs are a fantastic source of protein, exactly, and you can do anything with it. I tell people, make an egg salad sandwich, have fun with it. How do you like your eggs? Hard-boiled eggs are easy and on the go. That's another great way to have some eggs and run out the door. Make a little scramble and have a little egg scramble wrap, and that's a great way to start your day also. So his snack is typically cucumbers and cheese sticks, so he's getting some fat and something to sustain him. Okay. His lunch will often be chicken or a ham and cheese sandwich are his favorites. He gets another one of those vegetables, usually peppers for lunch. He gets fruit. He loves, peaches and apples or pears or whatever the fruit of the season is. Okay. And he does get some cookies in there. He gets a little dessert. So.
Okay, so he's getting the fat, he's getting the protein.
Yeah.
And he's getting the little sugar.
Little sugar, snack. Some fruits and vegetables. Okay. And then I'm very careful about the beverages. Kids' beverages, especially all the fruit boxes, especially fruit drinks, are very high in sugar. So I do my best to find the lowest in sugar. Okay. And even better, if you can send water to school, it's even a better option.
Okay. Thank you very much.
You're welcome.
I'm going to discuss something that's, we've seen more of recently.
Yes.
And that's gluten.
Yes.
Can you I don't want to take over the show discussing gluten because that's a topic by itself.
It is.
But can you just hone a little bit on some of the important points of gluten and casein gluten-free diet that I see a lot of our our patients.
I can imagine.
Yes.
Casein is a protein in dairy, just to be clear, and gluten is a protein that's in wheat, rye, and barley, to name some of the grains. But what's happening today is that our bodies are becoming more and more sensitive to some of these, and our body doesn't know how to process them. So even if you might not have a specific allergy where you break out in hives, or unfortunately some people have anaphylactic shock too, but some people can just be sensitive where it's a burden on their body and it bogs them down. Symptoms of congestion is often one from a food sensitivity like to gluten and or casein.
Okay. I've heard this term at many conferences I attend, a healthy gut is a healthy living.
Absolutely.
Do you believe in that?
I totally do. The gut is really the root of many things. When I work with people, anything, but even, a lot of times the thing that shocks them the most, people with arthritis or joint pain oftentimes comes back to the gut and to what you're eating. So that's, I do believe that the majority of our health stems from our gut, and if you can heal your gut and have a happy, healthy gut, the rest of your body is. Your gut is also called your second brain because the number of neurotransmitters that lie in your gut is more than actually in your brain.
Interesting.
So your moods are greatly, as I experienced in my life when I said in the beginning, healing my gut was really changed my emotions, which changed my life.
And the only way we could do that is through healthy eating.
Healthy eating, yeah. Okay. So my philosophy is real whole foods in their most natural state. Okay. If you know where it came from, if you know that it came from the ground or it moved around, as one of my the doctors that I follow says often, then I think it's a healthy, it's a way to eat. And quality, like I said earlier, is really important, having quality food.
I hear a lot of people eating a lot of yogurt these days. And I like yogurt myself as well.
Yes.
Can you discuss that? What's your thoughts on yogurt?
Well, yogurt, often people are eating yogurt because it does have some good bacteria in it. So we talked about probiotics. Yes. So it's great for gut health. However, most of the common yogurts today are very high in sugar. When they add, it comes back to sugar every time, I tell you. Yeah. When they add the fruit in the yogurt, they're adding lots of sugar to make it taste good. Okay. So some of those yogurts, I threw out the numbers earlier for you, there are yogurts that you think you're having a healthy food, really is more sugar than you're supposed to have in a day, or very close to it at least. Okay. So it's not necessarily a great way to start your day, because I know it's breakfast, or even as a snack. You can have yogurt, and there are ways around it. What I guess I can give a little tip of, I often recommend people have plain yogurt and sweeten it yourself, so you're in control of how much sugar you're putting. So get plain, which doesn't taste quite as good, but you can add some fruit, fresh fruit, a little honey maybe to sweeten it yourself, some nuts, and spice it up yourself so you're in control of how much sugar you're having.
Interesting. So the magic word today was sugar.
I think that's just the magic word in life right now, is that everything is so full of sugar. We need to just have awareness around it and see where we can cut back. You'd be amazed how it can change things.
Okay. If you could give me a minute of conclusion of today's topics, the most important points that you hit on, that would be great. That would be appreciated for our audience.
Well, I think the biggest thing, as we said, is sugar, and just keeping an eye on where you're getting it and you don't even realize it. That's why I always start with drinks, because we can be drinking it down and not think anything of it. Okay. Starting our day with breakfast is really important, and making sure, especially for our children, that their meals are having protein and fat in them. So that's what's going to keep them full and keep them going and keep them steady.
Thank you so much.
You're welcome.
I appreciate it. Diana, thank you so much for taking the time to be with us today.
Sure.
You shared a lot of great information with us. I appreciate it. Diana is hosting 2 free lectures on back-to-school nutrition at Acton Pharmacy's Educational Center. If you don't mind discussing a little bit give us a little synopsis of what those lectures are about.
Sure, we're just going to dig deeper into what we talked about today, how to feed children, and what some good examples. So we'll have some more examples of foods to eat, great ways to pack them, great ways to prepare, things that you can have in the freezer for grab and go. Okay. And then it'll also be plenty of opportunity for questions, so people can ask specific questions, to their children if they have some.
Thank you so much.
You're welcome.
So the first lecture is on September 23rd at 7 p.m. and the second lecture is on September 25th at 10:30 a.m. Please RSVP by calling Acton Pharmacy at 978-263-3901. 978-263-3901, as space is limited. Diane, thank you again for being with us.
Thanks for having me.
Thank you so much for tuning in, and I look forward to our next show. Be well. Hello, I'm Saad Dino, pharmacist and owner of Acton Pharmacy. I would like to invite everyone to attend our free lectures on healthy eating for back to school. Certified health coach Diane Brzezinski will discuss nutritious ways to feed your family, from a simple snack to a balanced meal. The free lectures will be held on Monday, September 23rd at 7 p.m. and Wednesday, September 25th at 10:30 a.m. We are so excited to share this information with you and hope to see you there. Please call Acton Pharmacy at 978-263-3901 to reserve your seat.